Hey guys, it's Miserable and I'm back. And oh my god, I was not expecting this. Imagine my shock when I get off work and see that a new Story of Seasons game has been announced by Xseed. In the latest Nintendo Direct, the trailer for Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town was released for our viewing pleasure. I definitely was not expecting a new addition to the franchise so soon after the Friends of Mineral Town remake because it feels like the game just came out, and I guess in America it did? Meh. Then I have to remember, the game's been out for a year in Japan, so 2 years for a new game seems about right. Well, enough chatter about that, and on to what we currently know in my first impressions of the game and the trailer. The story as we know it so far is kind of the generic Story of Seasons backstory. Why did I hesitate there? Whatever. Yeah, it's a generic backstory. So you're taking over your grandpa's farm, but in this case, your grandfather and his friends got together back in the day and founded the town and community known as Olive Town. It's always been a dream of yours to live there, and now that dream is finally coming true. When you arrive to the once beautiful farm, it's turned into a complete mess. The area is overgrown with trees and weeds, and the buildings are completely unkempt. It's going to be your job to cultivate and revive the farm to its former glory. Like I said, kind of the basic story that's always there. You're going to have to chop down trees to make space for your fields and animals. And I absolutely love the progression that you see when you're chopping down the trees in this trailer. It shows how much upgrading your tools is really worth it. From being able to just chop down one tree with multiple hits to being able to chop down many at once. I'm kind of a lazy person, so I like how quick and efficient this mechanic looks. It also appears that you will be finding crops and animals in the wild instead of purchasing them like in the previous Story of Seasons games. The trailer shows us finding turnips in the wild as well as a chicken. I'm pretty sure it's mentioned that you can and will find wild livestock that you can tame and raise on your farm. I'm not sure if this means you can't purchase seeds and livestock anymore, or maybe if the wild ones are going to be a special variety as multiple colored alpacas are seen in the trailer. But then again, the base colored animals are also seen in the wild, so I guess we'll have to see and wait for more information in that regard. From what we can see, we'll be able to raise cows, chickens, alpacas, and what appears to be a bison. Not sure if it actually is a bison, but that's what it looked like to me. I'm hoping for a few more new animals to be added to mix things up even more. And oh my goodness, guys, like I said, I'm lazy. So that sprinkler system is a godsend to me. To not be having to be able to water those crops every morning, or at least not as much. And yes, I know this is not the first time they've added a sprinkler system. But I don't know, for some reason it just spoke out to me so much in here. Lazy! And so, we're going to be moving on after that. This game looks like a good mix of so many previous games in the series, as well as having some Animal Crossing thrown in. I wonder why. So, choosing if you're going to have more of a ranch or a farm reminds me a bit of A Tale of Two Towns back on the DS, where you have to focus on either raising animals or crops instead. However, you don't have to switch towns now in order to get that experience, and being able to balance between the two is now up to you. You get to decide the layout of your farm, similar to A New Beginning, laying down pathways, deciding the placement of coops and barns, are all features of more recent entries into the series that appear to be expanded upon in this new game. You've got fountains, light posts, picnic tables, and hopefully so much more in order to decorate your new home. I'm hoping to see multiple different pathways, similar to how Animal Crossing has theirs. Maybe we'll also be able to get some interior decorating as well. There are so many possibilities. And of course, there's going to be Olive Town itself to explore and its residents to meet. We don't get a good look at Olive Town yet, but from what we can see, it looks beautiful. Almost kind of like an old vista with a bit of a European feel on first impressions. I guess kind of an update to A Wonderful Life, which is my personal favorite in the franchise. And of course, there are also going to be staples returning to the franchise, such as mining, fishing, and being able to get married. I hope they keep same-sex marriage in the game, as it was a long-awaited and much-needed addition, in my personal opinion. I love the way this game looks. It's going for a semi-realistic style when it comes to the people in the town. The people's faces are still kind of cartoony, which I don't really mind. And of course, they've reused the animal models from the Friends of Mineral Town remake. I don't mind that either. Hey, if you've got the assets and you just did it, go right ahead. And did you guys see the moped? I can just imagine myself riding around town, and I'd be the dumb one to intentionally run into walls and people. I do that whenever I can drive in a game. Yes, I'm crazy. I hope the moped is going to be a primary means of travel and not just for cutscenes, but I guess we'll see. The world looks absolutely beautiful, and the textures are spot on. The design of our main characters, which we mostly just saw the male, are so much more modern, and I love it. Honestly, for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's just me, the game reminds me a bit of Harvest Moon Light of Hope, or at least what they were attempting to do and what it could have looked like if more effort were put into the graphics. I'm not sure if it's the top-down view that makes it feel that way, or if it's how the characters appear in comparison to the background and scenery. Now, that's not a knock on Olive Town. As I previously stated, the way the game looks is amazing so far. But on another note, speaking of Natsume games, they don't seem to have much luck when it comes to releasing Harvest Moon games in a year that Xseed will also be releasing a Story of Seasons game. It was bad enough to possibly be releasing One World with a remake of the best known and possibly most loved game in Friends of Mineral Town a few months apart. But now One World will be releasing a few weeks ahead of Pioneers of Olive Town. Seems a bit unlucky, as Story of Seasons tends to sell much better, which is obvious because it is the original series. One thing in Natsume's favor is that One World will be releasing on more consoles than Pioneers of Olive Town, but it'll be interesting to see how both games fare being released so closely together. Either way, I can't wait, and I'm so glad to see that this genre is getting so many new additions. Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town will be releasing for the Nintendo Switch March 23rd, 2021. So guys, tell me what you think of the new announcement. Are you excited? Do you plan to get this new game? Or will you be picking between Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons? Comment down below and subscribe for updates on both games as they get closer to release. Okay guys, happy farming. Bye!